So today's a little bit different because normally I have Jake here and he makes me clap at the beginning. But today we're in a special place and someone's doing it. But for consistency in the fans, I'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
We go, just make it clap. Just make it clap. Boom, we're in.
Yeah,
there you
let's go.
Some people are like, why'd you do that? I'm like, it's Busta Rhymes, bro. What do you mean you don't know that song? Like, who are you?
If it's tradition too.
Yeah,
you know
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Of course.
Today we have the wonderful Tristan
Edpao.
Yes. Edpao. Yes. I was going to butcher it. I butcher everyone's name.
No worries,
Tristan Edpao. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
With a random guy just sliding in your DMs. Like,
literally. I'm like, who are you?
Like, want to come on a date? Want to come on a date and chat into a microphone, bro? So, you're in London. You're from LA.
Yes.
Originally?
Mm-hmm.
Dope. And
Born
you're born and raised.
Yeah.
You're lucky, man.
Yeah, there's a very few of us. You know, everyone wants to come to LA, and honestly, a lot of the industry is like everyone that it asks is outside of the country or outside of the state. So
yeah, like I lived there for 3 years, and I'm amazed we didn't like cross paths really.
Yeah.
But I was there for 3 years, and I probably met like 10 people who were from LA.
From there, yeah.
Like or from like near Hollywood, like NoHo kind of area.
Yeah,
it might be like, oh, I'm from LA, but I still live like an hour or 2 hours away.
That's exactly me. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I don't even live in LA, but I tell people I live in LA because it's easier.
Where'd you live?
I live in this place called Chino Hills. It's like a suburbs, an hour, well, actually 2 hours away from NoHo.
Oh, okay.
So I commute every day drive. So
shit. Yeah. I mean, everywhere's a commute in LA. Like you
need a car.
You can be going from like North Hollywood to like just town, like just Hollywood Boulevard, and it'll take an hour and a bit.
Exactly. Yeah. With traffic.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Exactly.
So you're in London. What brings you here? I know you've been here quite a lot recently.
Yeah.
What brings you here? Why are you leaving glamorous Hollywood life?
Honestly, I love London. You know, I've been kind of coming back with like more inspiration, especially because I feel like coming from being like born in LA, I'm used to it, and you know, I don't find it as inspiring as it was before or where I'm at right now in my current life. So coming to London is kind of like a piece of home, especially because I do have like a lot of friends here and non-dancer friends too, which is like amazing because I don't even have non-dancer friends at home anymore. It's weird. So so I'm here originally just to just to relax and meet up with friends. But I ended up, you know, teaching. I'm doing my program tomorrow. For 2 days at temp intensive. So it kind of just was a vacation, but now I'm also wanting to dance as well too, especially with the industry or the community out here. So yeah.
That Well, I want to dive into your intensive in a minute.
Yeah.
You were saying that you're not so inspired back at home.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? Is that recent?
Oh, we're going deep.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
Because like it's interesting because I feel like if we look at the dance community, like internationally and worldwide, everyone's goal is to go there.
Yes.
The same as it was mine. Like I went at 20, just turned 22, and I was like, oh my God, like I didn't make it unless I went to LA.
Yeah, LA is
like,
the place to be.
I had to like do at least one visa, book some jobs, meet people, work. Like, and in my eyes at the time, I was like, if I don't do that, I've not made it, which is absolutely ridiculous. But then to hear someone who's living there can be there as much as they want,
literally
to go, they're uninspired there.
Yeah.
It's interesting because most dancers' goal is to be there.
And I know how difficult it is for everyone to, you know, get a visa or try to make it out there.
It sucks, bro.
People pay so much money. People like, you know, have to go through this lengthy process. But, you know, and at times I feel kind of guilty when I do say these things and I want to move out because everyone, like I said, everyone wants to move to LA. Everyone wants to do it in LA. But for me, I guess like, I think it was after the pandemic really, you know, there was a lot of people that kind of moved on and did other things, and the industry and also the community too kind of changed a little bit. Not necessarily bad, but it was just a new wave of dancers, a new wave of people. And I feel like how I see it, it's still good, and I love it, and I love teaching there and dancing there. The training is the best, so. But I think it's just gotten very saturated, and for me, I don't find that same inspiration that I did when I started dancing. Like the old studios, like Debbie Reynolds was where I grew up dancing, and that was where like I felt like home, you know, and also like movement lifestyle as well too.
The original studio.
The original studio. They are coming back though.
Yeah,
so that's a good
I saw
thing.
the little studio. I remember going to the little studio. I went there a few times. But when I moved to LA, the big studio just opened.
Yes, yeah. So
they had both for one bit.
Yeah.
For one time, they had both. But those were those are the days, man.
Yes.
And when ML was ML.
Yes,
exactly. And there was still an edge.
Yes.
And there was still a like IDA.
Yeah.
And hardly any of those things exist now.
Yeah, and that's what I'm kind of missing. You know, I think especially for me, I'm not necessarily just like an industry dancer. I do come from like the community side as well from LA since I'm born there. So I do love the community sense, and even though I'm like kind of merging the gap between both worlds, I feel like at least the industry side, I feel like it's lacking community as much as I had before. And maybe it's because I'm not fully there. I'm honestly traveling like most of the year, so maybe it's also on my part. But I think it's kind of funny because I want to move to London actually.
Let's go.
Yeah. So I've told a couple of my friends about it, but it's something that I've thought about, and I don't know how it would work out. But
what's your why do you want to come here?
I think I just like London people better. I don't know if I'm gonna be like putting LA people down, but okay,
not at all. I've lived in both. Like I can tell you, it's culturally so different.
Yes, okay.
It's miles apart.
Yeah. So basically, how I see it, like, is that London people or people in the UK in general are just real, and like, if they don't like you, or if they don't, can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
If they don't fuck with you, like they don't fuck with you. They're not fake. They're not two-faced. But I've realized in LA that a lot of people will, suck up to you or just like be fake around you because they want something from you, or it's just like, they don't want to start conflict or anything. And yes, it's okay to not start conflict, but like, don't be fake around me, like if you don't like mess with me or fuck with me, then that's cool. But like, don't be fake, I guess,
I think London has that too.
Yeah.
Just not as much.
Yes.
Like, I feel like in London, like let's say the UK, it's such a smaller place than the States, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So even if people don't live here and they travel in, most of the time quite a lot of people know each other.
Yes.
Whereas like the States is huge.
Yes.
So like
very
even
saturated.
if let's say you're from like, I don't know, San Diego and someone's from like Malibu.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They don't know each other.
No,
like
really, no,
they really don't know each other. They probably didn't bump into each other at class.
Exactly.
Like whereas here it's a much smaller place. And then even when like Europeans come, I feel like it's still not on the scale of LA is.
Yes.
So I do think we have that like, that little bit of fakeness at times. I'm sure it happens everywhere.
Yeah.
But everyone just seems to know each other a lot quicker. I was in LA for 3 years and I would meet people right at the end, and we've been in a room together every day for like 3 years taking JR's class or like taking Michael's, and we've never like bumped into or made communication.
Right.
I just feel like it's such a bigger pond.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
And culturally different because everyone's from everywhere. There's so many people from Japan and like.
Yeah, that's so true.
Whereas here we have that, but it's not as deep. I remember when I first moved to LA. When I first went, I was very close with Michael Wilson. Shout out Michael, love you.
Me too. I love Michael.
The greatest guy ever. And he'd be like, "What's up, everyone? This is my friend Kane Silver. He's from London. Be good to him." Like everywhere we went, and I probably met like in the first 2 weeks like 400 people. Like I didn't remember
anyone's names.
I remember anyone's name. Everyone looked fly. Everyone was good looking. I was like, I don't remember no one's names.
Yeah.
And for the first like few months, everyone was always like really, really nice. Like super duper nice. And they're like, "How'd you get here?" And I'm like, "Oh, I got a visa." They go, "How'd you get a visa?" I'm like, "Oh, Brian Freeman helped me." They'd be like, "What work have you done?" And like at the time, I remember like feeling like everyone wants to be my friend. Like, I'm fucking cool here.
Yeah.
By 6 months, gone. Who are those? Those people never stopped to see me in the street again. Because they were like, he ain't getting me no job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Whereas here, we don't have that as much.
And that's why I feel like it's good, because I feel like in LA, since there's so many opportunities, everyone's looking for opportunities, which is great. But I think what I've also realized about London, talking to a couple of my other friends that are choreographers in London, just like hearing them out makes me see like there's a lot of like space or room for more opportunities here to build something. Maybe you guys don't have it just yet, but I think there's such a bright future for the London industry and community too, so. Yeah.
Is your goal coming here to work commercially, to teach, do both? I think obviously you've been teaching here and you've set up your intensive, which starts tomorrow, which we'll dive into. Yeah. What's the goal to come, like why come here?
I think
like work-wise.
Yeah, I think it would be obviously to teach still. I love teaching. That's like my first and foremost, but definitely like the industry side and commercial stuff. especially because, like I said, my friend was telling me that it's still, you guys are still kind of finding it in a sense. Like it's more so pop, a lot of pop. And I think hip hop is starting to kind of dive in a little bit more.
It's picking up. It's definitely picking up.
Yeah. So I see that there's like space for that. So I definitely want to hopefully tap into that as well.
Yeah. And for someone of your ethnicity, it's not as diverse here in our dance work. It's not as diverse as LA.
Yes. Yeah.
So, you know, like, what's your background, if you don't mind?
I'm Filipino, yeah.
I did think so, but I didn't want to guess.
Yeah.
There's not as many dancers, so the opportunity is wider for you here.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, in LA, there's quite a lot.
Yes,
Like here, there's a few.
Yeah.
So even commercially, like, it's like, hello.
Yeah, exactly.
There's just like, you're competing against like maybe 5.
Yeah.
Got this. Tell me about your intensive.
So my program, it was actually originally a program called Tristan Edpao Mentorship Program, TEMP. Yeah. So
nice.
Yeah. So I started over the pandemic. Oddly enough, it wasn't. I didn't start it because of like, I wanted to create a program. I think originally I didn't even want to do a program because during the pandemic, everyone was doing program online.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, you know, and like I didn't want to have to follow that bandwagon, you know, but I think there came to a point where I was still debating on what I wanted to do with my life. Like, am I going to dance still? Like, it was like, we're still stuck at home. Like, what am I good at? I was trying to venture off and do like, what was I doing? Doing Forex, like, you know, stocks and stuff. And I was like, I don't even like this. I'm not happy. And I realized like, why don't I just like, you know, do what I love still and make something of it. And I was kind of doing it for money initially. You know, at first I was like, I had no money left. And after like literally the first week I did my program, it made me fall back in love with dance. And it kind of saved me during the pandemic because I lost my purpose, you know, because everything was stripped away from all of us, you know, and for me as a teacher, me giving back to people was like my main thing. And when I couldn't pour into other people, I wasn't able to, I lost myself a little bit, you know? So yeah, that happened. I had my program and I did it like a few other times after that. And
where did you do them? In LA?
Yeah, in LA. So the first time it was all online, and then I did another version like in person, which was great too, because online is sketchy.
It's tough, bro.
Yeah,
it's tough. I did it for like a year online.
Yeah,
it's tough.
Yeah, it's just because like dancers, we connect with people, you know, so it's hard to connect like through really bad Wi-Fi.
Yeah, the only nice thing was I got to like, I met like some of my favorite people I've ever taught. Yeah. And then like if it was in person, they never would have made it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like there's a girl, shout out, her name's Leia. She's phenomenal. She's from the furthest part of Scotland you can ever imagine.
Yeah.
Like the furthest part. Like there's like, she's from a tiny little town, tiny little village. Yeah. And she did like all my programs online.
Wow.
Like, and then amazing. She ended up doing Deanna's Motors.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, and someone for like, I look at her and she improved so much at that time because she got exposed to things that she never would have been exposed to if we didn't have that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then like, since that we've built like I would say like a teacher-student friendship relationship. And like, I've got her helped to get into a dance college. I helped guide her. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
that's amazing.
And all that's from those weird, awful times where it's hard to connect.
Yeah.
But I think I found ways to connect differently.
Yeah, no, definitely. It was definitely hard to adjust, but I agree with you in terms of like their outreach, you know, because I mean, I think, you know, obviously my program that I did in LA was only LA dancers, but when I did it online, I was able to reach like so many different countries at the same time. So yeah, there's pros and cons, but I do prefer
person. You can't beat it.
Can't beat it.
Can't beat it.
Yeah,
it felt weird being like, I'm sat on my couch and I'm gonna teach now. Just stand up, like
especially me too, because I'm very like an energy-based person. You know, in class, like I hate when it's quiet. I hate when it's silent. So I just get awkward. Like I'm an awkward person when it's silent. That's why I like to just keep on talking or ask questions. I'm like, all right, what's happening? You know. So when like they are all silent on Zoom, I'm just like, so are we okay? Yeah, are we good? You know?
I'm like, everyone pull a funny face. Give me something.
Yeah. So I mean, I did that, and this is actually the first time I condensed my 4-week program into, you know, a 2-day program or an intensive, 8 hours. So I'm excited. I'm kind of nervous, but I'm excited.
Where are you doing it in London?
I think it's at the Hub. Yeah.
Oh, dope. Beautiful space.
Yeah. I love
very beautiful studio.
Yeah.
I feel like the Hub should get more love than it does. Like,
the
classes there aren't as busy as Base.
Yes.
But it's such a beautiful space. Like,
I feel like it's more community, or from what I've seen.
Yeah.
From like, I feel like Base is where more of the industry dancers go, you know? So.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
So how did you become a dancer? Like how did you fall in love with it? Like, I feel like the opportunities and the way people get into dance in LA is quite different to here.
Yeah.
So what was your introduction?
So yeah, I started dancing back in 2005 initially because, like I said, like I was very much like an awkward person. Like me right now, no, this is not
Really?
who I was before. Yeah, I was so shy. I had like 2 friends growing up. I was a nerd. I was into Harry Potter. I didn't really like go out at all, you know? So I was very much like an awkward, weird kid, you know? And I think I've always wanted to like open up. I was shy. I didn't know how to talk to people, but deep down inside I knew I had like this voice, or I wanted to speak out, or I wanted to say what's on my mind, but I couldn't, you know? And I felt like dance was that. And initially it was both my sisters that started dancing, and I watched them do a performance one summer, and I was like, wow, like I want to do that. Like they don't have to speak. They're just moving their bodies. It looks so much fun. And also too, it was partly because I wanted to meet girls, but you know, it's
well, that's
part
a
of
common
it.
theme everywhere.
Yeah, you know, but yeah, and in return, you know, after starting dance after that, like I ended up, you know, loving it, and it was more of like an extracurricular thing, but I was just doing it for, you know, like a few years during the summer, and I was really trash and didn't. Yeah, I had 2 left feet. I was really bad actually, but I really loved it, you know, and I wanted to grow. And it wasn't a career at that time. It was just like passion and like an extracurricular thing, like I said. So I had so much fun, you know. But yeah, that's kind of how I started. And yeah.
What led it to becoming a profession?
So we could go a little bit back.
Did you like seek it, or did it just happen?
So I don't know if you're familiar with like the community, like in LA, like the teams and stuff. But I mean, like you said, you know, movement lifestyle. But there's a team called GRV that I was a part of. Bam Martin was a part of it. Yeah, so I used to be on that team.
Dope.
And
they make the dope Instagram videos where it looks like the cleanest shit in the whole world, and there's 9,000 people doing transitions.
Yes, yeah. So it was crazy. The craziest 2 years, intense and a lot. And I think that's when I kind of realized, like, for example, let me kind of backtrace. So, for example, we would have hell weeks where it would be like 2 weeks long of rehearsals every day from like 8 p.m. to like maybe 4 a.m. So it was just like...
Through the night?
Yes.
Sheet.
Yeah. So like we would maybe get like 1 or 2 days off during the week, but this is like in preparation for competition, you know? And that's why we were so clean. That's why we were so good at that point. There was a lot of pressure on like what we had to like, you know, keep up because we were winning first place all the time, you know? But I think, you know, during that time I realized that if I'm going to be spending this much time in dance, like, why not make money? You know, like why not make a living off of it too? So I quit, you know, because I was giving them money and my time.
And you need sleep, bro.
Yeah, exactly too, you know, and I was just like, yeah, I didn't quit like for the competition, or I quit after, you know, I was like, all right, let me just try this. And I just, you know, dropped everything in terms of like even school. I dropped out of school too. I think I just went all in, and I had a part-time job for the first like year after.
Doing what?
I worked at Forever 21. I don't know if you know that. It's like a retail store.
Yeah.
And then
I think we had it for here for a while.
Yeah. Probably not so successful.
No.
Yeah. But I also worked at like a restaurant, 2 restaurants, and I hated it, you know? So I quit. I quit that too. I'm very much a person where if I get tired of things really easily and it doesn't like fuel my soul or make me happy, then I'm just like over it.
Yeah,
you know?
I did retail for 4 days.
Yes, you're even worse than me.
I did retail for 4 days. I did McDonald's for 4 hours, and I did supermarket for 2 shifts.
That's crazy.
I was like, none of this is for me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd rather like hand out flyers or be broke. Or
exactly. Yeah. So and that's kind of with me, but not as fast.
Yeah.
But I quit everything, and I was like, I'm just gonna go full force on dance because you know. Obviously, like with a part-time job, it holds you back. But I was literally like taking classes and training my first like 2 years. I think it was like 2016 when I was starting to go into the industry, and there was a lot of debate between like, oh, should I spend money on food or should I spend money on class? You know, and a lot of times like I would not eat food. I would just like, you know, take class instead and like maybe eat some crackers at home or whatever I had in my fridge at that time. But
were you still commuting?
Yes.
Back and forth home in LA, which is an hour and a bit, probably 2.
Yeah, hour and a half to 2 hours.
Which isn't cheap.
Yes, Gas is so expensive too. So that was like me for first 2 years. before I even got my first job too. So it was rough. You know, thankfully I had my parents like kind of supporting me or just giving me a roof over my head.
They supported the goal?
No.
Interesting.
Supported me. I guess they just accepted it, or not. Actually, they didn't even accept it. I was always a rebel, but they didn't kick me out. Let's just say that.
Oh, there you go. What did they want you to be?
A doctor,
of course,
a nurse.
Of course.
As any other Filipino in the States, we're known to be nurses, doctors. Both of my sisters are nurses too, even though they got me into dance. But yeah, I never wanted to.
You're the rogue child.
I was always, I'm also the youngest too, so I was kind of spoiled, I guess, in that sense, and I'm the only boy, so I kind of got away with a little bit more, but I always knew that, like, what I wanted, and like I said, I always, like, rebelled.
Now you're successful in the goal that you wanted to achieve.
Yes.
Now, do they support it?
My mom fully, you know. My dad, he still thinks I'm gonna go back to school. He's like, "Oh yeah, when are you gonna start?"
Still
school?
a hobby.
Yes, exactly. And I'm almost 30. I'm like, really?
Yeah, you're still gonna.
You think I'm still gonna be a doctor now?
Yeah, I mean you could. But it's a struggle.
but definitely right now at the point, I think even my dad, he does accept it a lot more now, especially because, for example, my mom, she's disabled, and then my dad, he's been retired for the past like 16 years. So. And both of my sisters moved out. They both have their own families, and I'm living with them still, but I pay for the mortgage, I pay for the bills, and I help them out with everything. And the fact that I can still do that as a dancer in LA, you know, and support both of them, and basically taking care of two adult kids.
Yeah,
you know?
2 adult kids.
Is insane. So like now they really have nothing to say in against of what I do. So whatever
what I'm doing is beneficial to us all.
Yeah, like I'm paying your bills. So
bro, that's dope, man. That's super inspiring.
Yeah. So it does feel great, especially because in the beginning, like I said, those first 2 years were brutal, and I was going through it. You know, I didn't know what I was doing, but like I just knew I wanted to dance, and I didn't necessarily have a plan B. You know, I was never like, oh, I'm gonna go back to school. I was like, I want to do this full force and see where it goes, and I never looked back. You know,
dope.
Yeah.
When you went to LA and you were in that transitional phase, what was your training like?
Weird. Yeah, I think like, especially coming from like the choreo background and the community, we were very just like choreography and not performance. You have to look like everyone in the team, in the group.
Yeah.
So I didn't know how to be an individual really, but when you come to LA, everyone's an individual. Everyone comes from all these places. So I was very scared, you know, especially like, I think LA was perceived like differently back in that day, or back in that time, where, you know, LA's like, oh, they're all cocky, they're all like super into themselves, or like they're all showy. But I soon realized that, like, you know, I was probably one of the only community dancers that transitioned at that time. Now there's so many like integrating, which is great.
And there kind of was before that, like back in the early 2010s, like from that, there was a lot then.
Yes, yeah.
From like Boogie Zone and
exactly,
all that stuff.
Yeah.
That transitioned over.
Yeah, so it was definitely like a hard switch. But I think, like I said, I've quickly realized that, you know, those people are just fighting for the job, you know, and like this is their career. So I was like, that's going to be me, you know, one day. So I didn't let the community side kind of, I guess, like taint my view on the industry. I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to dance. And at that time I was like, how am I going to, you know, make a living off of dance? And at that point it was like industry. So.
What classes were you taking?
I was taking so many classes. I was taking class from like Candace Brown when she was still teaching, Andy J.
I love Andy.
Showtime.
Yo, Showtime. The best class, man.
Yeah.
The best class.
Yes.
Like people who've never done it, like you don't even know. They're like, "Do you learn a combo?" You're like, "No, bro."
No.
Like what you do?
Grooving the whole time.
Grooves the whole time. He'll do it twice at the front. You figure it out. If you don't do it, his people who assist him will be behind him. Comfort or someone will be there. They'll get it. You copy them for about a minute and a half. Till your legs fall off, and then they'll find a new one.
And you're sweating, drenched right after.
Bro, it's so good, and the energy in the room. The music doesn't stop. Like sometimes you might throw a freestyle in there just to keep you all entertained while you breathe. Bro, the best class.
Yeah, and like he doesn't even teach anymore.
No, wait, I don't even think he lives in LA now, right?
Yeah, I don't know where he is.
I think he's moved.
Maybe Europe, I think. I don't know.
No, it's not Europe, but it's like I want to say Canada, but I could be way off.
Maybe.
I could be the biggest guess of all time.
Yeah, I don't know.
But he's definitely, I don't think he's in LA.
Yeah. So like I said, like all those people that I used to take class from, Andy J, actually even Andy J, I think she's like married to someone like in Europe
she's
now.
married to someone.
So she's like in and out, not even in LA anymore. So a lot of the teachers that I grew up with, that I really love and look up to don't even teach anymore. And that's the thing with LA too. There's a lot of new wave of newer choreographers and new teachers, which is amazing, you know. But I also miss that old training that we used to get to. So yeah.
When I lived in LA, I was obviously financially was rough.
Yeah,
because
expensive.
And we're only allowed on a O1 visa. We're only allowed to earn money through dance.
Yeah,
right.
I remember.
So I was like, unless I booked a dance job every month, like that's union, because non-union ain't saving me. Like I'm not going to be able to survive this. So I used to go dance at the Abbey.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, it's dancing, so
I had to make money. Like
I would do it.
But do you know what, like I was so scared. I'll never forget, I was so terrified the first few times, like to stand in like a fucking Speedo or dance in a gay bar and people took money in your pants. I was like, what the hell? And then my friend Sagi was like, dude, like loads of dancers do it. Like everyone that works there is like either a dancer or trying to get into some sort of like acting or performing or something. Like, but like it's good money. I was like, okay, I'll do it. By like month 3, I was like, I'm so confident. Like I went from being this really nervous person, and I was like, I've overcome the scariest thing in the world.
Yeah, you're dancing like naked.
Yeah, basically. And people are literally judging you. They're like pointing at you, like
I don't like you.
I don't like that one. He's too pale. Like literally, I'd be like, oh, if you weren't so pale, I'd be like, oh, thanks. Like, oh, if you weren't ginger, I was like, I am. What do you mean? Like, and if what? What would happen? You tell me. But it made me so confident, bro, to like do the hardest thing. Then like 6 months into being in LA, I was like, this is hard, but like I can survive this, man. Like it's doable.
That's cool.
Just like to have the right people around you.
Yeah.
Because LA's tough.
Yes. Yeah.
Super tough. Because everyone is out there trying to be something. Yeah. No one is out there just being.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I never met anyone who's like, what do you do? And they'd be like, I'm chilling, bro. I just cut grass.
Yeah.
It didn't exist. It'd be like, what'd you do? I cut grass, but I'm trying to be an actor.
Yeah.
Like, or I'm an actor who cuts grass.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that's what a big difference to what I see. I guess in Europe and UK in general is like, I feel like LA's lifestyle is very much like work hard now, play later, or you could sleep when you're dead, and like the work culture is very like hustle culture, you know. Out there. I think it's slightly changing, but I think in comparison to like, you know, like I said, UK or Europe, or even honestly anywhere else in the world, everyone's more chill, you know. Everyone, like the work to life balance is very good. But over in LA, it's like I feel bad if I'm not in the studio, or if I'm not working, or if I'm not doing stuff. I think now, like within like the past like year or two, I've been able to like just separate myself, especially being older now. But I think before it was like I have to do all these things to feel productive or be working. But, you know, I think it's good, you know, but also it could be unhealthy at the same time. You know, you could burn out, you know.
For sure.
Yeah.
What things did you find challenging, or what still do you find challenging within your profession and the career path you've chosen?
I think it's just balance. It's still balance, you know, even though I've gotten a lot better at it, but I think balance in terms of when to rest and when to, you know, grind at the same time. Like I said, I was always like grinding before, but I think I've always been like a type A type of person where I like to plan everything. And if I didn't get certain things that I wanted at a certain time, then I would stress out, you know? So I've been like able to like be more present now rather than thinking too much in the future or thinking about my past. They say like, if you think too much in the future, you have anxiety. If you think too much in the past, you're depressed, you know? So I've been trying to be more in the present, in the now, but it still bugs me because it's like I'm type A and I love to plan for the future. So I have plans and like things that I would want to do still, but I'm not trying to like, I guess, hold on to it too much because I don't want to get disappointed, you know, if I don't attain certain things or if I can't reach it in a certain time. So I'm just trying to balance that still. So I think that's like the main challenge, I would say.
Like where you're at right now, like, you know, you're a very successful dancer. You teach internationally. You have lots of followers on Instagram, which is obviously a new currency. Which is, I still can't quite get my head around, but it is a currency. You know, you've taught all these different camps, you teach you're on Steezy, like you've done all these things which a lot of dancers like idolize. So all they see is you in your glory.
Yes.
But like I feel like no one ever figures out what it takes to get there. Like I always think of that, you know, that iceberg thing where it's like you can see the peak but you can't see underneath, and it's like 10 times bigger.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like what does your daily life look like besides the glory?
Like outside of dance, or
like, or like what are you doing to keep the glory, to stay there?
I don't even know. What do you mean? Oh, okay, sorry.
Like, so
let me understand.
Let's say like you sold out a class on Sunday at base.
Okay, yeah.
Everyone sees you selling out the class at base.
Yeah.
No one sees what goes into that. Like, what's your thought process behind it? Are you like, so for me, like I'm teaching today, and every day my brain's going, oh, it's going to be like, am I teaching the right combo? Am I doing this? I have all these extra things in my brain. How can I make it better? What can I do? Yeah. But whereas all people see is, oh, that was a cool, fun, successful dance class. And they see you now in your glory, thriving as a dancer, which a lot of people would, love to be in your position. You have achieved most people's dreams.
Yeah, yeah.
How does that feel? Do you still feel that way, or does it still carry weight? Do you still...
Yeah.
Do you still have that pressure of like, I have to progress?
Yeah. Great question. I'm understanding it now. I think, I feel like, this is really deep, but yeah, basically I think there is a lot of pressure in general as like, a choreographer and, like you said, followers and stuff. And, obviously initially when I was like, putting myself out there, it was for me to share, but things come and like, there's expectations and, I love what I do. But it does, there does come a lot of like stresses, like of always wanting to be on top of my game or creating every piece. Like I used to pressure myself where I would say, oh, the next piece would be my best piece, And there was a point, I think like last year, it was a point when I was like, on consistently creating and, posting and just like had a lot of structure in terms of like putting myself out there. I think I gained like 30K followers within that time. But like, I was like, every piece I would say in my head at that time, or how I was thinking mentally, was like, oh, this is the best piece, this is the best piece, this is the best piece. And this year has kind of changed in terms of like where I'm at in my life. Like I'm traveling again, things are open, I'm getting to do all these opportunities again. And I don't feel that sense of how I was last year, So, I think, there is a lot of pressure into that, like I said, and, I'm trying to not let it get the best of me. Like even this class that I taught at base the other day, I was debating between like two other songs, and I was going to go hype, or I was going to go full out, or I was going to do like a super tour piece, but I also injured my arm and my leg and my hip from Bali. I don't know if you could tell, like I had a car accident or motorcycle accident. So I was like, maybe I should chill, and not always try to make like the most hypest, the most like best piece. And I just wanted to feel good. And that's what I did. I just like...
Do you ever find yourself being torn between creating for you and creating for your audience?
Yeah. So I think... So I went through like waves. So before that was like what I was thinking in terms of I was always creating for my students and like songs. A lot of people come like message you or DM you. They're like, oh, what are you teaching?
What are you teaching?
I'm like, does it matter?
No.
What?
Does that mean I'm good or not?
Yeah. Like, me as a teacher, or if you've taken my class before, you know what I offer. So just come and show up, And that kind of still bugs me. It's like one of my pet peeves. Bro, but I didn't even respond sometimes.
No, I just tell everyone I don't know. Even though I know, I go, I don't know.
I don't know. Just show up, So
you can ask me the vibe maybe.
Yeah,
What's the vibe? Like, am I coming like
dance vibe?
Or am I coming like I'm doing some You Got Surf today?
Yeah,
like,
okay,
your vibe?
I
like,
feel that.
I understand that question, but what track is it?
Yeah.
I don't like that song.
Yeah, it bugs me, but yeah.
So you did go through a wave of creating for others.
Yeah, so I did go away through creating for like my students and other people and like what they would like. And I definitely kind of lost inspiration during that time. And I think like very recently, like maybe the past year or two, like I said, I think I've had like this transformative, point in my life where I've like, grown a lot, but also like learned a lot about myself as an artist, as a person. But I started creating for myself again. And that was me just getting in the studio with a bunch of my friends, like maybe 5-6 people. And I would make something up on the spot within 2 hours, and whatever comes out, comes out. And actually a lot of the pieces that I do post on my page within the past few years have been like just on the spot, because for example, like when I choreograph on my own, it takes me like 5-6 hours. It takes me so long because
it's so much harder, right?
Yeah.
Do you think it's because there's no energy or no reactions to bounce off?
Yeah, exactly. And I think like I just overthink too much as well too. When I choreograph, I'm like, that could be better. That could be this. But like you said, like bouncing off, or even just like seeing it, have it be on a person, you're like, actually that move is kind of cool, you know? So the energy is a big thing. Like I said earlier, like I'm really big on energy. So I love when there's, you know, energy reciprocated in a room. And that's why a lot of people have danced with me, but there's a lot of people that have only danced with me once. Because, you know, it's like, if you're not giving anything to me, and not in a bad way, no strings attached to that or whatever, but it's just like, you know, I'm like, whoever's coming in the room with me has got to be good energy or got to be reciprocated. So
I choreograph on my own.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's a walk in the park, and sometimes like 4/8 could take me like a week.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I can do 8/8 in an hour.
Yeah.
It's just so weird. But as soon as I'm with someone, I feel like it's like, you go, does this look good? And they'll be like, yeah. Does it feel good? Yeah. And you're like, okay, I trust it. But otherwise you're in your head like, oh, I don't know if that's the right one. I don't know if that's the feel I want. Or do I want a line here, or do I want a groove? Like,
right, exactly. It's so crazy, the life that like us artists live, you know, like how it's just all over the place. Yeah. It can't just be easy, you know? No. Why can't it just be structured like and simple, but it's always different.
But isn't that the part that we also probably love?
Exactly,
yeah. Like I was looking at I have an app called Cozy, and I schedule like my life on it. And my partner she shares the app so she can see my schedule. Okay, my schedule changes every 2 days. Like you're like, oh, I'm doing this week, and I go, I changed my mind. I'm not now. This has come up. I'm gonna do this instead. Yeah. But I have a bit more structure now because I teach universities regularly. Okay, cool. Yeah. But all summer, like so say May, my summer was empty, and then by June, my summer's full. And it's like, whose life? Like how many people's lives does that happen in? Yeah. It's so weird. I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to make any money this summer. Oh, how am I going to pay my mortgage?
Yes, yeah.
Oh, I've booked a holiday. I've got a wedding to pay for. I've got these things. I've got nothing coming in. And the next thing I'm like, I need a day off.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I feel that.
It's so bizarre.
Yeah. But it's also, like you said, it's also great at the same time because like the life that we live is not so structured, and we could do what we want, you know, and have the freedom to do that. Definitely seeing like a couple of my friends or, you know, even my sisters have to work still 9 to 5 jobs. I'm like, good luck with that, you know, have fun with that.
But some people like sit and enjoy the fact that they go, I know I work these hours in these days, and on these days I'm off. And I can plan things on those days, whereas my brain does not like. It doesn't work like that. It's getting more like that the older I get. Yes. When I was younger, I was like, I don't need structure.
See that? Yeah, I feel like that's where I'm at too, because I'm like I said, I'm almost 30, so I've always known I've always been like type A, where I've loved structure, but obviously my whole career is not structured.
Our will doesn't work.
You know, so I've learned to like do both, but I think now that I'm getting older, I'm wanting structure. I'm wanting like I guess like more of something tangible. I think. And like I said, like I don't even know where I want to live at this point. So I'm like, where am I going? Where's my life, you know, right now? But I'm having fun and I'm doing what I love. And so that's a good thing.
What is your relationship like with dance?
Like what?
Like for me, it was the be all and end all of my whole life for such a long time until a point where I was like, I don't like this anymore. Like I don't like the work side of it. So I stepped away, and then the pandemic happened and I felt like everyone was equal. It was the first time in my life where I wasn't fighting for a job. Or I wasn't fighting to prove myself. We were all at home doing nothing. I was like, wait, I can just do this for fun. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? I was like, I can just do this for fun. So I would like find an Instagram video of CJ or of Nisha, and I would try and learn it from watching the video instead of doing the online classes. I was like, let's challenge myself and make this fun. Yeah, and dance became fun again. And it became playful because it became about just fun. And the reason I've started it didn't become about a monetary thing, or it didn't come about I have to book this job because that deems me successful, and it made me fall back in love with it. And now I've found the balance of choosing to only do the things that I love, but I'm lucky that I can do that because I love teaching, and most of my income is teaching, and then I'll take a job opportunity when it's the right one or it feels like something I want to gravitate to. Otherwise I probably don't have any interest whatsoever. So my relationship with dance is very on my terms. Yes. That's what it's come to. What's your relationship like with dance?
I would say I would agree to that too. Like to you, you know, what you just said, but I think it's kind of weird. I'm like I said, you caught me at a different time in my life. Like last year I had so much energy, and like literally last year I was gone maybe, 8-10 months of the year, like on tour with an artist or, touring around, like teaching. And it was great. And I had all this energy, but this year it was kind of like weird. I'm a little bit more tired than usual. And I'm still trying to understand why my body's more
age,
tired.
bro.
That's what it is,
bro.
too, you know?
33, I'm telling you, it's age, bro.
You know, I'm like, I don't want to think about the age because, you know, obviously,
everyone's like, you're as old as you feel. I'm like, no,
I'm old.
My knees disagree.
The knees, that's the first thing, you know?
My knees couldn't disagree more.
Yeah. So, like, I'm not trying to like put it on it because I think before, like when I was like early 20s, I was still like, oh my gosh, like I'm getting old, and I've been scared of 30, you know, and I think that's like an age that, you know, it's another milestone in your life, and you know, obviously in dance, it's like, where do you go with that?
30 was my favorite age.
See, and that's what I'm like going towards now, because I think maybe I'm just anticipating that I'm turning 30 in a few months, but I think I'm also realizing that a lot of the people I look up to are like killing it in their 30s or up, or maybe even 40.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I'm like,
all my favorite dancers are still
dancing
older
Yeah.
than me,
Yeah.
in my 30s.
Yeah.
Or in their 30s.
Right.
Or maybe close to 40s.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like even the new Breezy video they just dropped.
Yes.
Like,
Oh my God.
Dude, like look
they
at
brought
some of
everyone back.
Everyone back.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
every tour dancer or choreographer from 05 to now.
That's crazy.
Like some of those G's, like Super Dave. Like,
Yes.
How old
Oh
is
my
Super
gosh.
Dave, bro? I don't even know.
Yeah,
I don't want to offend him.
Yeah.
He ain't young. Like,
But yeah,
not
he's
like
OG.
we're young.
Yeah,
He's an
yeah.
OG, but like
Yeah.
still like Dave,
Yeah.
bro, killing.
Still doing it. Yeah.
I don't know if his body might not be able to kill it like a tour.
Yeah.
But he could kill that shit.
No, definitely. Yeah.
What was tour life like? Did you enjoy?
I do enjoy. I enjoy it a lot. I think when I first did my first tour back in like 2016, that's when I really knew like I wanted to be a dancer. I was like, I want to do this.
What tour was it?
I toured with Kaylani for a few times, and it was nice. So it was the only time she had guy dancers. It was me and my other friend Gordon, and to feel like the audience sing the song and feel them, that energy was so different, especially coming from the community when I'm only performing to like parents and like friends. Like when people are singing that song and you're dancing to it, it was definitely a different feeling. So I do love going on tour, and obviously I only got to tour a little bit with Kaylani, but I've been on tour with this guy named Eric Nam. He's like a Korean artist. He got famous in the K-pop scene or in the K-pop industry, but he's actually from Atlanta, Georgia, and yeah, he makes more pop music, if anything, not necessarily K-pop English, but I've been touring with him for the past like 4 or 5 years, and it's the best team. You know, it's been great, and they treat us really well. I think with touring though, there's a misconception,
bro.
You know,
the biggest.
You know, because everyone wants to be on tour. That's a goal.
That's the highest, right? We go. If you're a tour dancer,
yeah,
you've made it.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of things that come, because I'm not gonna name any names, but there's certain tours, and I've talked to a couple of my friends that. It's like it could be, these are like some of the biggest jobs, but like the team is just butting heads, and they just hate it throughout the months. You're living with these people like on the road for however long, and if you don't connect, then it sucks, you know?
Because you've got 9 months together.
Literally. Yeah, and then
and you might be on a tour bus.
Yes, literally,
which is so like, is this room?
It's this room? Yeah, it's
there's 5 of you.
It's hard, you know, but a lot of people don't talk about that because maybe they don't experience it, or they just see the glamorous side of it. You know, it's like, oh, you're on stage. Like, how about the time in between?
How about living out of a suitcase?
Exactly. Yeah, I think I'm used to living out of a suitcase now.
Of course,
you know,
but that's what I always found, like being on tour is like, yes, it's dope. You get to travel.
Yeah.
Yes, it's dope, but. Yo, I need this, but it's not clean.
Yes.
Like just those little things that
yeah.
when you're at home, you're like, I can wash this tonight, it'll be good tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or you're doing an overnight travel.
Yeah.
So you're not washing shit. Like just those little daily inconveniences.
No, definitely.
Like, yo.
Yeah. No, definitely. So I mean, yeah. So I do love touring. I think I'm gonna go back on tour this year. So
with the same artist.
With the same artist.
Dope.
It's kind of crazy.
That's when you know you've bonded.
Yeah. We were actually gonna like not do it this time, me and the other dancer. We were, because we've been doing it for so long, and we maybe wanted to have more opportunities, but
do it, bro.
We did ask for a raise.
Come on.
And that
I think you should. I think if you, every time you
seniority
go back,
yeah. So they did give us like that raise, and we're like, all right, let's do it. Let's push through. And I think it's going to be a good time, especially with the team. And it's another world tour, so we're going to go all over the place again.
Epic.
Yeah, and I'm like, I don't know. I'm like excited, but because I've done it already, so I already know like these spots in certain like cities and stuff. But I'm also, Deanna Matos kind of like said it for me too, but she was like over touring. So like, and this was a long time. It was like 4 or 5 years ago, and I didn't understand it when she said it. But I think like she was basically saying that it's tiring, and there's a lot of things that come.
Travel days are tough.
Yeah. So I'm still going to do it, obviously, and I'm still super excited. And obviously, like, there's so many people that would love to do what I do, but I don't think I'm necessarily a tour dancer. You know, I love teaching. I love having the freedom to have my own schedule, or to just, like, you know, be in London, teach 2 or 3 times in the week, and like the rest I could do whatever I want. I'm not tied to an artist.
And if your classes do well, make the same money that you did on a whole week on tour.
No, that's what I'm saying, and that's another thing too. I didn't want to say it, but
no, but let's be real. Like,
yeah.
Like, you're a tour dancer, and goes, oh my god, you must be rich. And I'm like, no, bro, the drummer's rich.
Right? Yeah,
the drummer just does this tour and takes a year off. Not me,
exactly. Yeah.
I finish and I can go in back to a part-time job.
Exactly. Yeah. So basically, like, with, like, you know, if I teach 2 classes, I can make what I make in a week on tour. But that's like 24 hours, 7 days a week of your time, you know, and like you're on someone's like else's timeline, you know, you got to follow, like, oh, we got to wake up, we got to do this, like, you got to follow that. But, you know, when you get to teach and like do what we do, is like, you got to create your own schedule. And like, if you want to have a day off during the week, sure, you know, or if you want to go to different places, like,
you want to listen to a different song, that's fine. Like, that's what I like, is like, feel like you're in control of the narrative.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whereas, like, I don't know, I was always like, yeah, world tour's the dream, but if it's doing it to music I don't like, then it's a job.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yes, I'm dancing, but I'm inspired by music, not movement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, then it's rough.
And I think if you've been doing it, like I said, I've been dancing with this artist for the past like 4 or 5 years. It's like, it just becomes repetitive. And like, I love it. I love the guy, I love the artist, I love the people. But I think, like, for me, like, it's hard for me to like still hold on to like very dear, because it's comfortable, you know. And it kind of like makes me like, like, I want to do something, you know. And tour dancing, like, when you're on tour, you're literally doing the same piece over and over and over. And, you know, it could be great if you're on certain, there's a lot of, like, you know, factors that could come into play. But I think,
like, I always think with like a JT-esque tour, that's fun because you have so much freedom.
Yes, like,
so like
freestyle
you have
sections.
So much freedom to play, and like you get an 8 count here, or you get to change this, add this detail, add this
for every show.
It can keep your creativity brain going. Definitely. But if it's like the tour where it's like, we want everyone to look as one. If it's like competition dancing, you know, if that's the vibe, then it's like, oh, I'm not allowed to have any personality today. I have to dumb down Tristan and turn up the choreographer. You know what I mean?
Definitely. So I feel like I'd rather be a teacher. Or, I mean, like, obviously, like, I'm still doing tour, but I think where I see myself is just becoming that teacher and the choreographer in total.
If you could change one thing in the dance industry, what would it be? Besides your money.
In LA?
Just within the dance industry, of how you've experienced it so far. What's the one thing you'd adapt?
Dang, that's a hard question. I think just, for one, more inclusivity and more respect towards dancers, you know. Like, you know, like I said, I'm a teacher choreographer, and I want to do that more because of the things I've seen in the industry. Like, we, as dancers, we get treated pretty poorly, you know, in like the production side, or, you know, the artist side sometimes, you know, and it sucks, you know, even though we're the ones that are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, or just like a lot of our bodies are like being, you know, exerted, you know. So I feel like even now, like, we're still fighting for a lot of rights, especially with the writers' rights in LA. Like, the dancers tie into that as well. So there's a lot of things
that we don't reap the benefits.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone else gets a wage rise, but we probably won't.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think I want to say, I remember someone telling me a long time ago that, you know, the dancers back then, like Michael Jackson type of days, like, they were making a lot of money. A lot of money, especially for that.
I know Lavelle Smith, like, and he told me they used to get looked after.
Yeah.
Like, you were good. And even a rehearsal, like, it wouldn't be like, right, it's a 3-day rehearsal and then we're off. It'd be like, oh, we've got a 2-week rehearsal for one shoot.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my gosh. Yeah.
So not only is your fee good, you're working. It's a job. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Whereas, like, if you're doing a music video, you're lucky if you get 2 days.
Yeah. So I think that's what it is. I mean, like you said, there's pros and cons, but I think if anything, it would just be more respect for dancers putting in their blood, sweat, and tears, you know. So
I completely agree.
Yeah.
My only counter argument is the amount of dancers that I see do dumb shit.
Yeah.
To not hold us to a standard where we deserve respect.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've just been doing a few jobs recently, and I worked on a really big film where the way some dancers were acting, I was like, yo, you all want to be treated in a certain way, but you're acting like assholes.
But I think it's like the newer generation, not just the dancers, but also the teachers too. I don't hate on a lot of teachers, but like some of these teachers are not putting like a good, I guess like a base for the newer generation, because there's so many new people coming in, but I feel like
even the basics, like how you speak to runners, like
yes,
no one says please and thank you, or you're even your wardrobe drama because your belt doesn't fit. Like it's not their fault. Like just ask them if they can fix it. Don't throw fuss. Those kind of ways people act is what I think makes us not be respected. And it's unfortunate because we can put like 99% effort in to make it good, and then that 1% can tip us back down to 50.
For sure. Yeah,
and that's the downside.
I think what's good in LA right now is they're doing a lot of programs recently. So like even the program that I was in, I danced with Kalani Marks and Antoine Troop. And
I love Antoine.
I was there for like, I danced with them for like 5 years, I think, and they taught us everything. They were very like structured, because I feel like when you're in LA or maybe in any industry, you're kind of just like by yourself. You're kind of just training, and you don't learn a lot of things. But
you don't really have a mentor.
You don't,
or coach.
Yeah, exactly. But these programs are able to give each individual like the information.
I'm a huge fan of Antoine.
Yeah, I love Antoine.
Like
he actually put me on my first job, which is Kalani.
Hey, sick.
And he put me on a couple other jobs after that. So I love that guy too.
His morals, like his ability to teach and dance is, he's a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
But it's his morals and his the things he stands for is what I really love.
Yeah,
he's a great human, not just take the craft aside.
And his rituals that he does like every day for himself is like very inspiring. Like there's a point in my life when I was like on top of like, like meditating or like even reading all these books, but like sometimes it's hard, but for him, he's always on top of it, which is very inspiring, even though he has a lot of pressure from like so many people all the time, So yeah, I love that guy.
Epic, man.
Yeah.
Last question before we wrap up. Aliens come from wherever they live.
Okay.
And they grab you and they put their laser gun to your head.
Okay.
And they say, you have to give us one person who represents dance, and it has to meet their standard. If you don't, the whole world's over. Who would you give? Who would you? I wouldn't say sacrifice, but I don't want to kill him. But like, who would you give? Who would you nominate? Who are you giving to save the world?
Oh, that's a really hard question.
But they have to be alive.
Okay. Okay.
Because everyone goes Michael.
That's really hard. I don't even know. Like, so a famous person or?
No, just a dancer or like whatever it means to you. It hasn't got to be for other people. It's who you would put.
Yeah. But that's a lot of pressure, like the one person to represent dance.
Yeah, it's dope, right? It's intense.
I'm sweating. I think I'm sweating now. Like
the
thinking
world's
about
ending.
it. The world's ending. Oh. I can't even put a name on it, honestly. I think there's just a lot of weight on that question.
Who's your favorite dancer in the world?
Okay, that's a little bit easier for me.
It's the same question. It's the same question.
But when aliens come involved, like, I'm like, oh, too much. I have a lot of favorite like choreographers or dancers now, but I think the main person would be Shay right now. So
Shay,
from Amsterdam.
Yeah.
I think like quality of movement and artistry is like on another planet, So I think. Yeah,
he is an alien.
Yeah, it's amazing, and I love like foundation stuff too. So when a dancer like has a lot of foundation and just knows her body,
and everything's driven from freestyle.
Yes,
it's kind of dope.
Which is amazing, and it makes the choreo look even more like different and like raw too. So
100%. Well, brother, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having
me.
me.
It's been a pleasure. I hope we get to do this again soon.
Definitely.
And I'm looking forward to you being a local resident.
Yeah.
Sorry, go. LA, we stole one. You always steal ours. We got one back.
Let's go.
Peace out, bro. Love.
Thank you.
Thank you.